Shitanapramanande. Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Simate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshwarini Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyanangana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaya Dati Swapadam Tikam Vandeham Shiguru Shijuta Padakamalam Shigurum Vaishnavamscha Serupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vikam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sadbhadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Shindu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesa Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Visabhano Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Pancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaisnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Reading from Bhagavad Gita as it is, translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Chapter 12, Bhagavad Gita as it is, devotional service, text number 9. Hare Krishna. Shukriya. Ata chitang samadhatum nasaknosi mayi stiram avyasa yogena tato Mam ichaptum dhananjaya. Somebody else.
Atachitam samadhatum nasaknosi mayistiram abhyasa yogena tato mamichaptum dhananjaya Atachitam samadhatum nasaknosi mayistiram abhyasa yogena tato mamichaptum dhananjaya Atachitam samadhatum nasaknosi mayistiram abhyasa yogena tato mamichaptum dhananjaya
Mataji.
Atachiktam samadatum
Atachiktam samadatum
Nasaknosi mai stiram
Nasaknosi mai stiram
Abhyasa yoge mutato
Abhyasa yogena tato
Mamichaktum dhananjaya
Mamechaktum dhananjaya.
Word for word meaning? Ata.
Tata.
If. Therefore.
Therefore.
Chitam.
Chitam.
Mind.
Mind.
Samadhatum.
Samadhatum.
To fix.
To fix.
Na.
Na.
Not.
Not.
Saknosi.
Saknosi.
You are able.
You are able.
Mai.
Mai.
Upon me.
Upon me.
Stiram.
Stiram.
Steadily.
Steadily.
Abhyasa yogena.
Abhyasa yogena.
By the practice of devotional service.
By the practice of devotional service.
Tata.
Tata.
Then.
Then.
Mam.
Mam.
Me.
Me.
Icha.
Icha.
Desire.
Desire.
Aptum.
Aptum.
To get.
To get.
Dhananjaya.
Dhananjaya.
O winner of wealth.
O winner of wealth.
Arjuna.
Arjuna.
Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. My dear Arjuna, O winner of wealth, if you cannot fix your mind upon me without deviation, then follow the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga. In this way, develop a desire to attain me. Everybody, please repeat, every one of you, that verse.
Maybe
Go ahead. Yes, go ahead. All together.
My dear Arjuna, O winner of wealth, if you cannot fix your mind on me without deviation, then follow the regulated principles of Bhakti Yoga. In this way, they have a desire to attain me.
Purport. In this verse, two different processes of Bhakti Yoga are indicated. The first applies to one who has actually developed an attachment for Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by transcendental love. And the other is for one who has not developed an attachment for the Supreme Person by transcendental love. For this second class, there are different prescribed rules and regulations one can follow to be ultimately elevated to the stage of attachment to Krishna. Bhakti Yoga is the purification of the senses. At the present moment in material existence, the senses are always impure, being engaged in sense gratification. But by the practice of Bhakti Yoga, these senses can become purified. And in the purified state, they come directly in contact with the Supreme Lord. In this material existence, I may be engaged in some service to some master, but I don't really lovingly serve my master. I simply serve to get some money. And the master also is not in love. He takes service from me and pays me. So there is no question of love. But for a spiritual life, one must be elevated to the pure stage of love. That stage of love can be achieved by practice of devotional service, performed with the present senses. This love of God is now in a dormant state of everyone's heart, and their love of God is manifested in different ways, but it is contaminated by material association. Now the heart has to be purified of the material association, and the dormant natural love for Krishna has to be revived. That is the whole process. To practice the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga, one should, under the guidance of an expert spiritual master, follow certain principles. One should rise early in the morning, take bath, enter the temple and offer prayers and chant Hare Krishna. Then collect flowers to offer to the deity. Cook foodstuffs to offer to the deity. Take prasadam, and so on. There are various rules and regulations which one should follow. One should constantly hear Bhagavad Gita and Shrimad Bhagavatam from pure devotees. This practice can help anyone rise to the level of love of God. And then he is sure of his progress into the spiritual kingdom of God. This practice of bhakti yoga under the rules and regulations with the direction of a spiritual master will surely bring one to the stage of love of God. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ata chitang samadhatum na shaknosi mayi stiram abhyasa yogena tato mam ichatum dhananjaya. Hmm. So as mentioned here in the purport by Srila Prabhupada, there are two processes one can have in Bhakti Yoga. And the first one is about being having that actual development of attachment for Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by transcendental love. That means um, one is already on that platform whereby is actually having that attachment. Hmm. What do you call that? A Shakti. Yes, a Shakti. After Nista, then Ruchi, then Ashakti. Attachment. And there is another one who is not having that spontaneous attachment for Lord Krishna, but he's also performing bhakti. But that bhakti is has to be done because it is not that spontaneous loving, having loving devotional service towards the Supreme Lord. That means bhakti is being executed by following rules and regulations. The word Prabhupada uh, translated bhakti or abhyasa yogena by the practice of devotional service. It's like, Prabhupada gave an example. It's like a mango. A mango fruit, in the beginning, it is green, but then later on, it becomes ripened. And then both are mango, both have the same taste of mango, but the ripened one is a better taste. It's very sweet. So similarly, in the beginning of our executing bhakti, um, because the whole purpose of the performing bhakti is to ultimately develop love for Krishna or attain love for Krishna. Prema bhakti. That means he already attained love of God. That is the ultimate goal of performing devotional service, to attain love of God. But to attain love of God, we have to perform sadhana bhakti, regulative principles. There are do's and don'ts that we have to follow. It is not that a child automatically will, as soon as the child took birth, started to run. Yeah. So in the beginning, the child has to grow up a little bit, learn how to crawl, then start to walk, but not really walking straight, many falling here and there. And eventually, later on, when the child started to walk, he immediately actually would like to run. Yeah, but again, no, you cannot run immediately. The child will have some accidents, and you'll have so many scratches on the elbows and the knees and so on. So one must be very careful. So similarly, the process of bhakti yoga uh, is that in order for us to develop attachment. See, after the attachment, it'll become bhava bhakti. That means the preliminary stage of love of God. Still, that is not the end. The end is that when one ultimately attained love of God by following this process. Srila Rupa Goswami, he explains this process. It's like a science. It has to be performed systematically, logically, gradually. Then one will make advancement, and one will attain transcendental love for the Supreme Lord. So, what is explained here, actually, this is a series of verses starting from, hmm, yeah, starting from 8 verse. Let me read this. Starting, there is a flow of the chapter 12. Chapter 12 is entitled Bhakti Yoga, devotional service. So, in text 8, previous to this, it says, just fix your mind upon me and enter into me. Hmm. Just fix your mind upon me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and engage all your intelligence in me. Thus you will live in me always without a doubt. That means be able to get Krishna, attain Krishna. And then text 9, where we are here discussing, it says, if you cannot do that, then practice abhyas yoga. This is an important word here. Abhyas yoga, by the practice of devotional service. And then text 12 or 10 to 12 is a step-by-step options again. If you cannot practice by following the regulative principles, then you work for Krishna. So there is a chapter here in the Bhagavad Gita. Chapter 4. Is it? Let me see. No, chapter 5 actually. Karma Yoga, actioning Krishna consciousness. So anyone, I've read it someplace where Prabhupada says that work, even if you work outside, even if it doesn't have anything that has connection with Lord Krishna, it can be also Bhakti Yoga if the fruits of the labor is given or offered to Krishna. The fruits, yes, the fruits of one's actions. So, if one cannot do that, then offer results. Work for Krishna, offer results, and then ultimately cultivate knowledge. That is the series here. 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So, for the next couple of verses, 10, 11, and 12 also, one will be able to understand ultimately how one can cultivate this gradual process of bhakti yoga and ultimately attain Krishna. So yes. So why there is this the what do you call it, sequence? Because it shows a different level of qualifications. Not all of us are equally receptive in understanding Krishna or attaining Lord Krishna. We're all different uh, categories of conditioning. That's what it means. We're all like some they can follow a certain thing and then the others can do the other things. But ultimately the goal will be the same. Yeah? So it says here, repeatedly mentions abhyas, practice. Abhyas yoga. Abhyas means practice and to repeatedly doing it again and again. That is what it called sadhana bhakti, isn't it? We do the same thing again and again every day. Huh?
Yes.
Especially taking prasadam every day. Huh? Others may come for Mangalartik or not come for Mangalartik, but you have to come for Mangalartik every day. Chant our rounds every day. Read Bhagavad Gita every day. Hear the Srimad Bhagavatam. Chant our prescribed number of rounds. The holy name of the Lord. Do practical service during the whole day. Don't give any gap that Maya will be able to enter. And then what? We go to sleep, get up again the next day, and we do the same thing again and again, isn't it? Is it boring? No. Why are we able to do it every day? If it's boring, then we will find and look for something else that we may think that better than what we're doing every day. There's nothing better than this, isn't it? But this is just the preliminary. This is not the goal. To do the same thing again and again and expect nothing in return. Why we're doing the same thing again and again is that so that we'll have the taste. The problem here is that we're all inflicted by this disease called ignorance. So when we get up early in the morning, we follow the same process. It brings us into the platform of pure goodness. Ah, we are in the mode of ignorance and passion. I mean, I can speak for myself, but maybe some of you are in the mode of pure goodness already. But definitely, for those who wish to attain Krishna, one has to follow all of this process. To engage the mind, especially in the senses, in Krishna related activities. This is the meaning of abhyas, practice. And then yoga, abhyas yoga. Yoga, what's the meaning of yoga? To link, to connect. Our disease, Prabhupada mentions many times, is that we have forgotten Krishna. We have forgotten Krishna and therefore we're put into miserable condition of life, full of suffering, having repeated birth and death, birth after birth, repeated cycle of birth, death, old age, and disease. So by this practice of this following the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga, we started to link up again, even though we're still in the conditioned state. Yeah? When we see the Lord early in the morning, have darshan, all our senses, our sense of sight, our sense of smell, when we smell the incense, the fragrant flowers offered to the Lord, when we use our feet going to the temple, when we use our hands to touch other devotees or the deities if you're pujari, uh, when we use our tongue for tasting sadam and vibrating the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, then everything is being engaged. The whole purpose of Bhakti Yoga is to engage the senses and the mind in serving the Supreme Lord or anything which is in relation to Krishna. Hmm. So now, why do we need to practice? Why this practice is needed? It's like I've seen um, one father is training the child to ride on a bicycle. So again, in the beginning, the child has to learn how to balance, and but the father is always there, trying to be sure that the child will not fall down. So similarly, in the conditioned life, our mind is wandering here and there. It's what you call scattered. Have you heard the word scattered brain? Huh? Scattered brain, that means, or scattered mind. It's not focus. It's like multifaceted, going here and there, thinking many, many things and desiring many, many things. It says that mind is scattered, that means it runs to sense objects, thinking of many, many things except Krishna. And for lifetimes, the mind has been absorbed in material things, which means that we don't have this taste, we're lacking taste for Krishna. Even though love is within our heart, it says dormant love of Krishna is within everyone's heart. So, but because we don't have taste, we're not able to realize that. Therefore, this practice that what we're doing every day, that following the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga, the do's and the don'ts, is like a bridge that will bring us to or connect us to Krishna. And this is being done under the able and supervision of a bona fide spiritual master. It is needed. As Prabhupada says, and Shastra says, if one wants to make advancement in Krishna consciousness, then one must be very serious and should take guidance under the superintendence or supervision under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master. And we mentioned this also in our previous meetings when I was traveling, that the spiritual master is like a bridge that connects us to Krishna. Yes. Without the spiritual master, without the bridge, if there is like a very strong current of water, there's no bridge, you want to cross, you'll be swayed, you'll be carried along by the waves of the water, and you'll be lost. I've seen a video. There's a right now, especially. Oh, there's a tsunami. There was a big earthquake in Russia. 8.9. Is it 8.9 in Richter scale? That is like one of the most heavy earthquake in the planet. And now there's a tsunami going on in Russia and Japan and some parts of US. So anyone who's there in that earthquake, and then the water comes in, oh, it's very devastating. Yeah, I just saw that video. Really, 5 foot waves, not just 5 foot, maybe higher than that. So um, somehow or other, we have to perform these regulative principles in Bhakti Yoga in order for us to be able to get out of this material world and attain love for Krishna. So, how these things work? We mentioned this already, and now we're going to expand a little bit. The eyes, by engaging our senses in devotional service, The eyes in seeing the beautiful form of the Lord by reading the scriptures. Hmm? The ears in hearing Hare Krishna, Kirtan, lectures, and Harikatha, topics about the Supreme Lord. Kirtan, this is also Kirtan. Reading Bhagavad Gita is also Kirtan. Kirtan means glorification of the Supreme Personality of Godhead by chanting His name, His fame, form, qualities, and pastimes. So we use the tongue. The tongue has two purpose: to vibrate and to taste. So we only eat Krishna Prasad, or we say we honor Krishna Prasad, and at the same time also only vibrate the holy name of the Lord, or anything that is in relation with Lord Krishna. The non-devotees, or those who are materialists, they use the tongue for prajalpa, for talking nonsense and tasting food which are not offered to Krishna. So all of these things that we're doing uh, in the process of attaining Krishna is to purify ourselves. Hmm. So it may seem like external what we're doing. Of course, it is external, but this action creates certain pattern in our mind that ultimately will be able for us to focus on Lord Krishna. That is the goal, to always remember Krishna and never forget Him. So, as Prabhupada says, this is a gradual purification process. From the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 2, text 17 and 18, it says, hearing leads to purification, which leads to attraction. Another name for that is raga. Raga. It's like a devotee who has a spontaneous attraction to the Supreme Lord is called a ragatmika bhakta, like the inhabitants of Vrindavan. Right now, our attraction to Lord Krishna is not spontaneous. It is we're just doing this out of duty. We're doing bhakti out of duty. We're not doing bhakti out of love. So that's two different things, right? We're doing bhakti now, or we're trying to do bhakti, but out of duty. Yeah? Huh? Yeah, Vaidhi Bhakti. So Mother Yasoda, Nanda Maharaj, the Sakhis, the Sakas, it's not like that. They're doing it spontaneously with love. So our desire must be transformed. Again, Prabhupada used the word dovetailing. Dovetailing our activities into Krishna consciousness. So we may have material desires, no doubt about that. As long as we have this material body, the material desires will come and go. However, our desire should be only to please Krishna, and to make that desire stronger and stronger every day by again following the process again and again. So the do's and don'ts, because this is what I mean by regulative principles. What are the do's? These are the positive ones. Chanting fixed rounds daily without any offenses and attentively. Hearing Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. We're given all of these opportunities or facilities by Srila Prabhupada by establishing this Hare Krishna movement. This is the main purpose. Attending Mangalarti, yes. Serving Vaisnavas, number one. and also performing archanam, deity worship. All of our activities revolves in deity worship. Am I correct? Everything that we do here is ultimately to please their lordships. And Srila Prabhupada, of course. So the don'ts. The don'ts now: no meat eating, no intoxication, no gambling, no illicit sex. So by positive practices, it will help our conditioning state to come to the purified platform. And says these are restrictions protect from distraction. Ultimately, those prohibitive, regulative principles, the don'ts, will ultimately help us to become free. Actually, it is freedom. We're thinking, oh, why I cannot do that? Why I cannot do this? Actually, you'll become free after be able to control all of those urges of the senses, especially the mind. So in the beginning, it is like mechanical, right? Yeah, it is mechanical. I will chant because Krishna said so. Or at the time of initiation, I'm chanting because I promise to the spiritual master in front of the Vaisnavas, in front of the deities, and in front of the camera that I will chant the holy name of the Lord. Now you may all forget, but if it's recorded, that will not be it will not be erased. Ah, habit formation, abhyas. So yes, this is to train the mind ultimately to always think of Krishna. Even though unwillingly the mind doesn't want to do this. Because austerity means performing something which is seemingly we don't want to do unwillingly, but because we have a purpose, we have a goal to achieve, even though unwillingly I don't want to do it, I will do it because I have a higher goal. Hmm. Yes. And again, well, every time we do this again and again, this sadhana, bhakti, mm, it becomes a habit. And if we miss Mangalarti, for those who are really sincere and serious, they feel bad inside. They feel guilty. Do you feel like that? Huh? Yeah. Even if you, let's say, even mm, late, you don't want to be late actually, huh? To see the Lord, because the Lord actually will be looking for you. when yeah, when you're absent or you're late, Krishna and Balaram will say, where is my devotee here? How come he's not here now? Maybe he's still sleeping. The Lord is waiting for us. Now we may not have that feeling, but Krishna, this is only anxiety. When are we going to go back home, back to Godhead as soon as possible? Krishna is more anxious for us to go back to Godhead than we do. He also given all facilities. Yes, everything is there. So, uh, purification and taste. See, that's why Krishna consciousness is a science. Ultimately, we'll have the taste. After purification, we'll have the taste. Our heart becomes pure, becomes lighter. Have you had that experience sometimes that your heart is heavy because you did something which is not supposed to be done, or you commit an offense? towards devotees. If you are not feeling heaviness in the heart when you commit an offense to a devotee, that means you are in big trouble. And that is the worst thing that one can do. Sadhu Ninda, Vaishnav Ninda, especially, ultimately, the greatest is Guru Ninda. Hmm. By disobeying the instructions coming from the spiritual master, it is considered to be an offense. Hmm. So, by following this, we can tell whether I'm getting purified or I'm starting to have taste in this process. Even in the very beginning, that one starts to feel joy in chanting and hearing. The reason, if we are not having that taste for hearing and chanting, that means we're still not able to follow the process the way it should be done. That means we're having difficulty because of our offenses. Then ultimately, we'll become absorbed in smaranam. What's smaranam? Remembrance. So again, it's a process, right? Ultimately, the mind will automatically run towards Krishna. There'll be not a second that the mind will not think of Krishna. When will that day come? When will that day come? And that is our goal. So practice makes one perfect, and ultimately, when one becomes mature, one will develop love for Krishna. So we should not be mechanical forever. Ah, we should not do things mechanically all the time. Prabhupada says we should chant the holy name of the Lord lovingly, with feelings. Not just, because, I promise I have to chant 16 rounds, and I just chant without being absorbed, without feeling that separation or love for Krishna. Of course, in the beginning, it may be like that, but it should not be like that forever. The aim is to constantly remember Krishna, smaranam. This is what Sravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam. Isn't it? Sravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam. So that's why Prabhupada says, I'm good in hearing. That's why I'm good in chanting. And if you are good in hearing and chanting, then one will be good in remembering. You cannot be good in remembering if you're not good in hearing and chanting. That's not possible. So from the purport, Abhyas yoga means the yoga of practice. If one is unable to fix his mind upon Krishna at once, he should practice thinking of Krishna by chanting, hearing, and so on. This practice will enable him to remember Krishna constantly. That's why Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his prescription, especially for those who are in Kali Yuga, is to always chant the holy name of the Lord. Constantly. When he says constantly, means at all times. So, we have to practice devotional service, and then ultimately our desire will change. We may have, while practicing in the beginning, regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga with material desires, but this will change. This will ultimately becomes purified, the desire. From being self-centered by having ego, false ego, to ultimately become Krishna centered. Hmm. And says here that as desire changes, then remembrance becomes natural. That's why it says in the beginning of, let's say, when we chant the holy name of the Lord, Prabhupada says he was asked, what do you think when you chant the holy name of the Lord? Prabhupada says, you don't think of anything. You just hear the sound vibration. Hmm? Of course, our goal is that when we chant, we will remember Krishna. But it is not possible to remember Krishna immediately in the beginning stage. But as we chant gradually, we become pure, and then ultimately remembrance of Krishna becomes natural. Hmm. And attainment of Krishna is assured. Okay? So, in conclusion, don't be discouraged if you're not able to think of Krishna immediately or spontaneously. Ah, we should be very careful. Ah, to think, oh, I've been chanting for 20 years. How come this is not working? Seems to be something is wrong with the process.
What is working?
There is no problem with the process. The problem is our application. So don't be discouraged if you cannot remember Krishna spontaneously. Keep following the principles as a practice, and gradually we should increase our desire to obtain Krishna. In the beginning, because when one performs even in the mechanical stage of following these things, these regulative principles of bhakti, um, they may acquire some material benefits. It comes along with it. But one should not mistakenly think that this is the result of when one practice bhakti yoga. This is like a French benefit. You've heard of French benefit or byproduct or the result? No, no, no. This is like an additional, but that is not the goal. Hmm. So we should have always this keep us in mind that, but others they mistakenly, okay, let me still keep chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra or do bhakti, and then maybe my material opulences will also increase. Ooh, that is a big mistake. Finally, ultimately, our practice will transform into love. Again, from the purport, last one. The more one is engaged in devotional service, the more he gains attachment to Krishna. As soon as this attachment becomes very strong, one can practice meditation on the Supreme Personality of Godhead without deviation. This is the stage of real yoga. It's from the purport. Okay? So I think I will stop here now. We explained a little bit of how this will transform us ultimately for us to be able to remember Krishna all the time. And this is our goal, actually, ultimately, to always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna. Hare Krishna. Any questions or point? Yes.
Prabhupada mentioned that
Ah.
Prabhupada mentioned that purport
Yeah.
one should constantly hear Srimad Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavad from pure devotee.
From pure devotees. We're hearing from Prabhupada. We're just
So I can
repeating.
read in my phone.
No, you have because you can read at home also without, but you will understand more the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam in the association of devotees. This is the advantages.
But Prabhupada mentioned the pure devotee. Why he mentioned pure devotees?
Yeah, this is a pure devotee.
But pure, he mentioned pure devotee. Pure devotee.
Yeah, it is pure devotee. Prabhupada's purport coming from pure devotee. Now we're just trying to repeat. Prabhupada says also, if you repeat what Krishna says, that makes you also perfect. That your message should not be putting some masala. Otherwise the taste will change. Yeah? How many of you like to eat with spicy food stuff? I don't like that. You go to Russia, you will never have spicy food stuff, but they're very healthy. Yeah. So a pure devotee means he is fixed in Krishna. That's all. If you are fixed in Krishna, that means you're a pure devotee. And the reason why we're doing this is that we become fixed to Krishna. And as long as we are only repeating what Prabhupada says and what we've heard from the scriptures, that makes us also a pure devotee. Prabhupada says a kanista adhikari can be also pure. There is a pure kanista adhikari, pure Vaishnava. We think that pure Vaishnava is only the Uttama Bhakta. Huh? No, even a sweeper who's just sweeping the floor of the temple, of the mandir, and he does not have anything, any desire for himself, is a pure devotee. His only purpose is to please the Lord, serve the Vaisnavas. Even though he's a sweeper, he's a pure devotee.
But they want money.
No. Others, they don't want anything. They just want to serve. Prabhupada gave an example of the materialist or the worker that they will only work because they want something in return. They got to be paid. But a pure devotee of the Lord, of course, he may need something to maintain himself. How can you eat? Where are you going to get your chapati? Well, okay, you can go to Krishna Hall, it's free prasadam. But but he will not be able to help others though, to make advancement in Krishna consciousness. Because a kanista, he cannot help another person or another devotee to come even to the Madhyam platform. That's why if you want to get out of this world, then you should choose an Uttama Bhakta, pure devotee.
Yes.
Okay? So we hear from Srila Prabhupada, and when we repeat what we've heard from the scriptures, anyone who speaks on the Vyasa-san and he doesn't have any envy at all, he is a pure devotee.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
some qualities.
Yeah. Any other points? Yes.
This flow from Maharaj. Mai Stiram.
Where?
Second line.
Stiram. Mayi stiram. Yes.
Fixed. Stiram means steadily, right?
Yeah. Stira. Steady.
Steady. That is for that purpose only we are practicing, right?
Yeah, we become steady because again, our mind is chanchala, is wandering, is scattered. Scattered. That means we're multi-branched. We're not focused. Being steady means focus. Hmm? We're doing something and then we think of something else. We will stop or we will pause what we're doing and we'll do another thing. And then, I'm thinking another thing. Okay, I stop this one. Oh, let me do another thing. So how are you gonna finish the first one and the second one? I'm like that also sometimes. And I'm sure you are also like that sometimes.
Yes, 100%.
And everyone is like that sometimes. No. When you're cooking, you just cook. Huh? I've seen one devotee, he's cooking at the same time he's checking, Seriously. I saw it here in Vrindavan. You know, checking maybe the WhatsApp, what's going on, and cooking.
Same time talking.
Is that good or not? How is Krishna going to accept? Even though the one who's going to offer to Krishna what you cook is very focused. So it starts from the one who is cooking, then the one who is preparing, the plate, and then the one who is offering and ringing the bell. This is how it goes. So everyone in the deity department, everyone in the kitchen should be focused. Right? That's why mobile phones is not allowed in the kitchen or on the altar. No, they're not allowed. But still they do it. Hare Krishna. We're not supposed to do it. When you're dealing with the Lord, you just focus. It's a constant meditation. Fixed, steady, focused. One pointed attention. Should be like that. And when you're preaching, we have a campus preaching program here. You should be focused also. Everything that we do. It's not that, I'm sorry, I'll get back to you later, okay? I have something to do. Then what the other person will think? This fellow is not so serious. Yes?
All our sadhana based on this nice theorem. Steadily.
Steady. That is what I mean by sadhana bhakti. Even the topmost Uttama Bhakta, Mahabhagavat, he is steady.
We have seen our Guru Maharaj.
He is steady in his habits. That's why Bhagavad Gita says, Arjuna asks, what does a yogi do? How does he walk? How does he eat? How does he sleep? How does he work? Everything is balanced. Don't eat too much, don't eat too little. Don't sleep too much, don't sleep too little. Don't work too much, don't work too little. Balanced. When you're balanced, you become steady. When you're imbalanced, you're not steady. It's like, you've seen these kids who goes to the tightrope. They're steady. It may take them some time to go from one point to the other point, but they have this stick, right, to balance them. So the balancing act is that when we perform this sadhana bhakti, ultimately our goal is to go to the other end. And if you are not steady, you'll not be able to reach the other end. You'll not be able to remember Krishna. We understand? Srila Prabhupada K. Nitai Gaur Sitana Pramanande Hari Hari Bol. Oh. Just 1 second. Let me answer this one. Haribol. Haribol. Hare Krishna. Risi? I don't think you can hear me. Just a second.